Hello, and with tidings, good gentlemen and ladies, and boys and girls. As you know, as a holiday, Thanksgiving, as a particular identity of volume, /s, as a holiday, /s. I forgot the rest of the words from my monologue. But it's about where and how Thanksgiving had not been invented, but had been revealed. Exceptions in exception nature, well, science that were revealed through, and the simultaneous value of that, which is where and how volume science, as we'll discern through Little Rap Guy and Friends cartoons and movies and music videos, and through youtube.com/user/Romulus Wall. I've been citing identity ground locations for you guys. So, dear Bravo Network and dear Kim Kardashian, if you guys could help, there's Weathersfield Police Chief named Cintron, and there are a whole bunch of people tied to him who created instances when I was a kid that are involved with identity theft, frauds, and roles. They're ducking behind their roles even with the places that people work out. And they have connections to people in their narratives where they were involved with fact, cheap and nature-oriented predicate acts on and off Trinity College, on and off CCSU, leading up to the World Trade Center attack context as people involved with Washington, D.C. and World Trade Center illusions. Criminally foreign influence identity ground locations uses. There are 2 people that were involved with child abused kids at a St. Anthony school. Nothing personal, saying anything. It was from off your school that I'm talking about. That stays on and off at all the different campuses. Sickly, distinctly victims and reactions to it. Because there is much that is unacceptable at every single campus. And they are recorded blaming other things, others themselves, for those impositions as victims. Because they came through what they came through. Entertaining natures of positive that are criminal insidiousness natures of positive. Also delusions wrought. So I heard about that woman who was in prison where they put fake things in her file. Connecticut Interbranch has been fabricating audio and video through time. There are a whole bunch of various different courts. A whole bunch of people tied to a Della Fera family with a judge I don't know the name of. And one I had to write a police report about when I was a kid, a Judge Smith. And there are other people with the name Smith, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They attach little kids and their families increasingly to fake conversations, fake locations, fake ties to other people, fake natures of ties to other people, and they hide the confessions of those people. There's a Christopher Cullen and his family, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved with the intelligence community, with a Joe Aiello, with a former Mayor Gold and his family. A whole bunch of people involved with forensics locations through time, and with various natures of police forms and their families and their neighbors that are involved with the narratives that keeps the sense and sensibilities of the people of all the corner locations along Griswold Street, for example. Recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. Having been victims that had my name used with them before. I never had conversations with them. All exceptions, exception nature, and demonstration of the same thing. Sequence shifts roles. Roles with the exception, with setting up of exceptions. Exception nature. So they also have Russians involved with, there's a woman who was like walking with a baby in her carriage, for example, at the end of Griswold Street and Route 3. That was recorded, confessed, demonstrated, tied to some of the people involved with World Trade Center narratives. They have a whole bunch of other countries involved with this. They have people that work for a whole bunch of people that were in a Taekwondo place. I don't know. That is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. The guy was involved, sought me out. Now these are people involved with predicate acts on and off the Wethersfield Police Department and locations next to it, and on and off the Wethersfield town offices where they used to be the police station, and the schools next to it, all the schools in town, intercities, and the locations next to them involved. Whole bunch of names. So they pretend passions and emotions, pretending they know me, and they have like pictures of me or something next to them with instances, and they have totally fake, not even recorded even on Facebook, where they confirmed also ground locations. That's why they took people's Facebook accounts, because the police forms in the courts are kept with overt criminal enterprises needing to hide, and private ones needed to hide live progressions together, sequence shifts, uses of them. So there is a Dr. Shub and our people from Trinity College who confirmed that there are roles with workout locations, like one in Rocky Hill Athletic Center, where they have people with badges and gavels and military involved with identity theft, fraud, sequence shifts, falsified police reports, involved with all that's actually tied to the, because these are with the other branches of government too. They've been stacking fabricated audio and video. They've been replacing what is actually recorded over Facebook with fake narratives and just fake quotations. They've been doing this on and off the Wethersfield Police Department. A whole bunch of people tied to Mendez. One Eric Mendez, they made an exception. He came into my class, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. He's involved with people from Central Connecticut State University. When I was in middle school, we had a quick conversation about Mike Tyson. And whatever. So in other words, I don't know Eric Mendez. There's an Eric Oliveri also involved with the DeMauro family, with predicate act. I never had anything to do with Joe DeMauro. One time I saw him, like one day I remember him in my 5th grade class. I had no interactions with other kids in that class. You know, I minded my business. They had a Debbie Gold spreading lies and rumors with other, and also with a O'Brien family. But they have both political parties to complete possession. They have the alternatives to complete possession of real, sick, fake integrity of logic and integrity of honesty when they're using other people's names and other people's information, including the police. Including they have criminally foreign influence readings of statutes increasingly self-valued because how they're preventing mandated law with locations. So yesterday, the Wethersfield police, if you call the regular number, they say, "Oh, they don't have time," and then they tell you put it like that. And they confess things though. They confess they only a bunch of times. They only have one guy named McGee, but they have different falsified police reports with the guy named McGee associated with the military police, and with my neighbors, with the Dillon family, and before those neighbors moved in. The Dillon family in courts, various natures of courts, were involved with predicate acts on my street here in Wethersfield, as ones recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, having been involved with connected, simultaneous predicate acts roles, wrongdoing roles, falsified police reports roles, where investigators, vetting identities, identity of the grounds, stewards, having been used remotely through other natures of. And then their cover-ups, their lie progressions, their methods by that are used remotely by a method that bound that originally and still. So when I say sophistication, they are a pseudo-sophistication. They want to have, come on, malarkey. Distinctly, non-distinctly, President Biden is a victim. They're keeping a victim predator. Distinctly and non-distinctly, where President Trump is a victim, they're forcing him to be a victim predator. too, distinctly. Same thing with Obama. If Obama had free speech, that fake science that reaches out, does correlation nature tell you that people stacking in New York City spoke for what Marbury versus Madison speaks for when someone speaks for science? See, we have people discrediting people, leaving out finite and lying about the finite, and uses of those fake things put into courts' files. Uses of those fake things put into prisons' files. These are prisons also with military families, involved with child sexual offenders, further on and off a principal child offenders campus. I caught them also with WFSB and their investigators. Also, before that was happening, they attached me to fake words, fake locations, fake ties to other people, fake natures of ties to other people, because these are people involved with the remote uses of the World Trade Center in Washington, D.C., and campuses of each intercities. And they're using methods by a method that has them shared styles, thinking how they could pretend passions and emotions in representation of the campus's identity. They're also switching and forging names, though. Sequence shifts. There are all these manifest ways where they make instances where people that don't know each other, where they're filming stuff and then they're speaking about those instances. And they're locking, and this is what really the overt negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures were increased for. Because they were uses of roles of everyone blaming other things, others themselves, and defending that. Sick, delusions rot, and sequence shifts, finite lies, active, progressive, and identity thefts and frauds roles as the people pretending passions, emotions about voting. These are people involved with Wethersfield town offices with the increasing identities of wire crimes and uses of officers of the executive branch's methods of switching names and while falsifying police reports, fabricating audio and video, attaching little kids and their family members to fake words, fake locations through time. Now, this also shows how we're also going to discern how recorded the courts have predicate acts with Heather Hansen and with her family and people on Church Street that are involved with uses of real estate crimes, with the new and past neighbors, roles with this Dillon family that don't even realize it. See, this is how they keep victim predators, because you have to use people's names outside of courts, because those are the people that have the courts and the police forms criminally involved with them. So Wethersfield police called me from the Wethersfield town office like 4 months ago. I called them back, and I just called them back yesterday. They're making confessions and threats when they're making confessions about forging names, switching names roles. See, those Mendez police were involved with attaching little kids to fake locations, fake that they have roles with wire crimes when they were kids. It had something to do. I don't know the McCord family either. They're recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with people from New Britain Superior Court, dozens of people, and Hartford courts and their family members that used them with this Pandolph family. I also barely know. I had no conversation with him like the whole time when he was sat right behind me in speech class, in one of the speech classes. Both those speech classes had doctors and people associated with him with other houses also around schools, like a Chris Walters, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved. I never saw him on the campus of Central Connecticut State University in my life. I don't think I ever saw Mike Pandolph on the campus of Central Connecticut State University in my life. But he's recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with a computer teacher also, with the people with the intelligence community, and with the various departments of Central Connecticut State University. They're also involved with him, with the Scalora family, and or with people tied to them, and all along Route 3 with confessions he made in the past. And people with like Espada family also associated with those judges and her other boyfriends involved with identity thefts and frauds when they were at the same time that are also involved with those fake things they're putting in databases of schools, and no one's watching. So what we have to do now, these are also people involved with Sandy Hook and with the Soto family that were forced, tricked, hurt roles with the people on the child sex offender registry that also have personal ties and roles with various natures of predicate acts with Wethersfield Police personally, and retired and standing ones, and other police forms that are also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with various natures of federal criminals they were spreading lies with, pretending passions and emotion with before they were caught, including on and off campuses, where and how they make these instances where you don't know the person and they pretend passions and emotions. And then people react to that because they go tell on someone. Whatever, you react. And then there's a whole fake narrative because they pretended you were in a location with them or you were in a conversation or even saw them before that. Like that's one of the things that a Debbie Gold and a former Mayor Gold is involved with, and also as people involved with forensics locations, to have ties between the people involved with the child sex offenders that I caught before they were caught off campus. They are further involved with that, and with the methods of crime, and of child abuse, and of medical abuse and judicial abuses, where and how interbranch Facebook pages and those of the campuses are being used where they're lying about our behavior with the people involved already entrenched. So the people involved with child abuse by religious locations, they have involved with predicate acts with religious locations. One around Fox Connecticut News in downtown Hartford. There's a Perone family that made instances of identity thefts. They had people acting. They had like all these guys that said they were her boyfriends around the same time that are involved with predicate acts on my street. In other words, with military police, forging names, switching names, roles with these officers. Also different and private police families and their family members. That's how they get them needing to hide live progressions used remotely leading up to and in the World Trade Center attack. It is recorded clear as day. WFSB has roles with the investigators of the World Trade Center attack, as ones involved with the Rocky Hill Athletic Center and another place in Wethersfield they say have. And there's a place all along. There's places all along that route that goes from Wethersfield and the street on Church Street in Old Wethersfield, and the house on the corner of the Church Street of Old Wethersfield, and all along there to CCSU, our people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, confirmed, not only involved with predicate acts with judges and prosecutors and their family members personally, identity thefts and frauds, drugs crimes, medicine crimes, sexual abuse of little girls, wire crime acts, methods, roles. In other words, get them on paper now. So they made people that made instances that were tied to that church. There was I don't know if Tom Perone's father and Danielle Perone, their father and mother, I don't know their names. I don't know the mothers of there's two Jerry Kerrs. There's a Michael Kerr. There's a whole bunch of people with the name K-N-E-R-R, also involved with New Britain Superior Court with sexual and medical abuses of little kids, and judicial, tied to them fabricating audio and video in the thing. There are various judges in courts also because they're personally criminally involved with doctors, foreign and domestic. Now the Perone family and the Kerr family, by people tied to them, are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, and they confirmed involved with predicate acts with the corner of South Dean Highway and Town Line Drive, with the businesses next to there, associated as the people involved with the Dillon family. That's in Wethersfield / Rocky Hill. And the Dillon family is also involved with the investigators with the predicate acts on and off those roles, on and off those locations where they have illusions, where and how they had investigators, and identities of law, where that was is the subject, that was is used, recorded being and having been used for their motivations recorded, leading up to and in the World Trade Center attack, New York City, and Washington locations. But I was in the Washington, the New York, not when the planes hit like bombs, but I was in there right before that. And then we came home. We saw the World Trade Center attack. The World Trade Center had gotten attacked. We had been in the Ninth Circuit Court right next to it, also involved with sequence shifts. See, these people are involved with sequence shifts tied to the way they make instances. And this is also recorded remote uses of people and sensibilities and families and neighbors associated with the Cub Scouts. Involved also with very juxtaposed natures of medicines, crimes, drugs, crimes, identity thefts, fraud, sequence shifts, mail crimes, wire crimes, with this Dillon family, as strangers with confessions, and sequence shifts because these are a lot of people tied to Ray Collusion, his sister. That he used to hang around with kids younger than me. There are also people that pretended they hung around with me at a field or when I was fishing that are younger. That I never had. That's not true. That was timed too. Someone said that to my mother. I don't know. If it was true. If it's that, the only exception is people that I don't know. There were kids that were in other words. They have people walk by you, like over near a pond near my house. That's involved with the people involved with the police forms, and with the news media and private retired police forms of what they call the intelligence community. These are a whole bunch of other nations involved with predicate acts of juxtaposed natures all along Route 3 that goes by the state judicial branch offices. No. They put up cameras because they time people in relationship to their uses of the creation of instances, vertically and horizontally, even offensively. Like they're pretending they're doing investigations and investigators legitimately. They're covering lie progressions per the roles with identity thefts and frauds, bound by that one method that everyone was forced to self-value roles with. Originally and still, not even prevented correlation, nature, and science with integrity to admit what is clear as day to the correlation per what are the means claimed free as Hartford, Connecticut, let alone New York City. And you have to remember that and understand simultaneously from Russia to here, there are suburbs that are tactically denatured to cause negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. And the overtly denatured, that overtly fake science, /S, where the sciences share an identity is critical. Where and how the holidays share an identity. Thanksgiving is a timeless ancient science that was revealed before it was criminally re-engineered in some ancient times to keep exploitation of self-value roles with and as identity ground locations that increasingly can't pretend to be fact-cheaping nature of integrity the way they do. Identity nature and sequence treatments, and afford to have discerned what it's really about. Those identities of timeless aspects. So Thanksgiving is an identity of relationship to the season. Simultaneously, it is an identity of relationship to the harvest. Simultaneously, it is in relationship to the other holidays. Simultaneously, it is a relationship to our nature, what we are giving thanks for. But now through filters, as science is other than that one to and as the value of what is simultaneous can only stay simultaneous. That native pure. Boxing.